there are these sudden unfortunate developments that are taking place in the Indian Ocean region, in the Arabian Sea. There has been the second ship, merchant ship, that has been attacked by the Houthi rebels, the Houthi terrorists, and there has been a deployment of 3 warships that has been initiated by the Indian Navy in its counter to ensure that surveillance activity continues to take place and there are no more Houthi attacks that are hitting the naval ships, the merchant ships that are traveling from the Middle Eastern region into India. There is in fact a lot of chaos that has been created where a number of merchant ships, there have been attacks as huge a number as 10 to 15 of them that have been witnessed in the Red Sea. There have been repeated efforts that have been made by the US warships and submarines that have strongly deployed in the Mediterranean Sea, in the Red Sea region to ensure that there is a strong counter to the Houthi attacks by drones and missiles that has been initiated unabatedly in wake of the Israeli attack that has taken place against the Gazans. Now, in such a situation, there is a global sea trade that has halted, which is going to impact countries across the globe. It is going to impact the goods that are transported from various parts of the world and into India. There is going to be an impact on the crude oil which the world and particularly India are dependent upon. So what are going to be the consequences of it? Can there be a complete halt that can be ensured against the Houthi terrorists that are hell-bent on destruction simply because there is a revenge that they have initiated in wake of the Israeli attack on the Gaza Strip? Let's start off this conversation. Joining me on the telecast is Captain Shyam Kumar. Quickly, a response from you, Captain Shyam Kumar, about the situation that has arisen, and it has been going on for the last 15 days or so, where there have been the US naval ships that have been deployed. Now, the situation has come to the Indian Ocean region. So while initially it was the Red Sea area and the Gulf of Aden that had been under attack, the Houthis have taken a turn towards attacking Indian ships on the Indian Ocean region. What message is going out to India from the Houthis and the several other terrorist organizations that are working in cohesion at this point of time in ensuring there is destruction that happens not just in Israel, but destruction for Europe, for America, and now for India as well?
Right, Meghna, see this the Hamas-Israel war and Houthi rebel of Yemen. We should not call them just Houthi rebels of Yemen, who are non-state actors, have pledged to help Hamas. And we know the Houthis' connection with Iran. And obviously the third force is Hezbollah. So this HHH axis of reaction, which is supporting with a backup of Iran, is now trying to escalate the war into the situations such as Red Sea and now into Arabian Sea. So this is a background. And we all know that since nothing has happened and nobody has come directly to help the Palestinians in war against Israel, so the only way they could draw the attention of the world is through the Red Sea adjoining areas attack, or wherever there is a pinching salt which is trying to influence the world's economy or concerning the other nations, including India. So the question here is, what is the solution? Because Indian ships, basically all ships which are trained in this, all ships which are going to Israel or which has a Israeli connection. As we said, even the ship which was attacked at MV Camp Pluto, which also had a Israel owner connection of Mr. Adan Offer. So here the connection is building up onto the Israeli connections, and in turn they are saying that we are not targeting all ships. Another point is United Nations Convention of Law at Sea 1982 clearly defines that Only a belligerent country declaring a war against others can attack neutral shipping. And for that, they have to give clear warning, clear the areas, and make a blockade. This is a non-state actor. So there is no question of Yemen, Houthi rebels of Yemen doing this. India is concerned. This has happened in Indian waters off Porbandar, INS Mormugoa, and the CGSS Vikram has spotted it. The explosive team, naval team, has carried out a clear investigation. There is a clear indication that it is a drone attack. The intelligence team, the ATS, the police of Delhi, etc., are looking into the investigation. Ship has been cleared for transferring of cargo at Mumbai, and there will be some docking required because there is a limited damage. However, it's stopping its operation.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Those are the technicalities. But we wanted to look at a larger picture as well. And quickly getting in Vail Awad on the show with me. And so, with regard to this, taking a look at what the Indian Ocean at this point of time brings as an opportunity for these Houthi terrorists to then attack Indian ships. This is the second of a kind attack that has happened. The war being waged by the Middle East terrorists, whether it is Hamas or Houthis, or in the north of Israel, where Syria has been bringing in attacks against the Israelis, becoming into a global attack, whether it is America or the European ships that at this point of time are traversing through the Red Sea, or for that matter in the Indian Ocean region where the Indian ships are also being attacked.
Megha, I think let me clarify certain point to your statement. First of all, the Houthis are not terrorist organization. They are only designated by the United States, and they have revoked it into 2021 because they are part of the ongoing political settlement inside Yemen, where the American supported the Saudis and the Emirates in raging a coalition war on Yemen for more than 8 years. The worst atrocities being acted on them, and they defeated, and they had a truce till now. So the war is quite at the moment the frontier with them, but then because of the attack of Israel on the Palestinians, whether it's in West Bank or in Al-Aqsa Mosque or in Gaza, the current war on Gaza, have created a scenery that the whole world is supporting Israel in this, and nobody is daring to call for a halt to Israelis' attack and carnage on the Palestinians. So the Houthis took a stand that they will say that there will be no shipping trade, commercial trade with Israel, or any ship can be carrying Israeli flag or Israeli goods can pass through Bab al-Mandeb or the Red Sea. So therefore they have been attacking. On the other side, India never been attacked by anybody. Okay, let us make it very clear on this. There is no even any confirmation of the attack of the Indian ship, which is near to Gujarat, that has been attacked, the Kimo, which is carrying the Liberian flag. It's just the investigation is on, and this was carried from a drone, from a ship, drone-based ships. It's nothing to do, it's quite far away from the Yemen, the attack on India. So maybe somebody raises the false flag to drag India into a failed coalition, into dragging India into a war, which is not of the Indian interest. So these are matters of concern. This is a global
There has been an alert that has been sounded by the US naval forces talking about how that has been a direct attack, a direct drone attack on the Indian merchant ship.
Nobody believes the United States, whatever they say. That's what they can say. It's for the Indian investigation to find out, and that's what we've been tracking the Navy, Indian Navy, to come out with a statement. And they said it is a preliminary investigation still on. So I don't think we should reach to any, presume any conclusion before the full investigation, Megha.
Okay, well, but then is India an unfortunate byproduct of the war that is taking place between the Americans and the Houthis? Of course, the Houthis and the Israelis, but America playing a role front and center in protecting the territory of Israel and standing firmly behind it in its fight against Hamas.
Everybody is fighting because of Israel and supporting the Israelis, but nobody is supporting the Palestinians. Let's put it this way. And I'm not here to defend any of the sides, but my concern is for India. If India is a sovereign state, have the right to defend its border, which is nautical line of the international sea, that is everybody understands. And there has to be a collective action by all the nations to protect under the international law, which Mr. Shyam was referring to. So if that is the case, then it has to be a collective, nothing that whatever the Americans say, that a puppet should be follow what they say.
Okay, all right. Quickly getting in a word from Professor Madhav Nalapat as well. Professor, how do you view this very complicated situation? Is India at this point of time bearing the brunt of the fallout that has happened between the Americans and of course America siding with Israel, and therefore the attack that is being witnessed on the merchant ships, whether they are coming in from Europe or India or any part of the world?
I would like to point out that this particular situation that we are seeing began on October 7 with an extremely cruel terror attack inside Israel by Hamas. And from then onwards, the the Jewish people have suffered persecution for thousands of years. They are very, very sensitive to this kind of attack. Certainly those who run Hamas would have been aware of this. Those who support Hamas would have been aware of that situation. And Hamas knew perfectly well that there is going to be a very deadly Israeli response. Now, they were hoping, with the help of their friends, and several individuals have been calling for ceasefire, basically to protect and preserve Hamas. But the reality of the situation is, quite frankly, that it is a Palestinian Authority that ought to be in control in Gaza and not Hamas. And as far as Israel is concerned, it is going to continue this operation until Hamas is completely eliminated from the scene. There's no question about it. Now, I fear the Houthis. I quite agree with Dr. Awad. The Houthis, we cannot call them that kind of an organization. In fact, if I remember, there were some evacuations of our citizens from Yemen, and we got a lot of help from various groups in Yemen, including, I'm told, the Houthis. I think, therefore, they're certainly not enemies of India, and I don't think that they were targeting India in this manner. As far as the Americans go, frankly, they see Iran everywhere. They look under the bed, they see some Iranian hand there. They look outside the door, there is some Iranian hand there. So America and Israel, they see Iran everywhere. I said from the very beginning, I do not believe Iran will be involved in any attack on India. And you saw about 3 days ago, Iran has basically given visa-free entry to Indians. Anybody a citizen of India with a passport has visa-free entry into Iran. That's not the act of a hostile country. Iranians have very few friends, and they count India among those friends. They would not like to abandon that. I fear the Houthis are making a terrible mistake. If it is the Houthis that are doing this kind of attack, first of all, it's intolerable to shut down a major waterway. Intolerable. Absolutely unacceptable. And if the Houthis are doing it, what they are doing is essentially to create the risk of Sana'a becoming the new Gaza and being completely destroyed in a kind of an attack.
Yeah.
So
when we take a look at the Ukraine-Russia war, and there has been a blockade that has been put for the Ukrainian ships to traverse through the Black Sea, versus what is happening right now at the Gulf of Aden, and there is no allowing of the ships to travel, and this directly impacts India. And as the Union Defence Minister was saying, that India at this point of time, when we take a look at it, from the human geography angle, our trade actually happens via the sea routes, because our lands on the northern part, whether it is on the western front where Pakistan is a belligerent state, or we take a look at the Himalayas on the northern front where Chinese aggression is maximum. It is the sea trade that helps us through in allowing for our exchange of materials, exchange of goods to take place. Now, while the Black Sea may be farther away and does not impact India so largely, it is the South Sea, it is the Indian Ocean region that has come into attack. It is besides the point that whether it is India which is bearing the brunt of it, or is there a direct attack that has happened against India by the Houthis?
Look, I'd like to say clearly that yes, it is irresponsible action, and you cannot shut down a major artery of global commerce without severe consequences to yourself. I mean, the Houthis have made it very clear several times publicly, and in fact, some of the ships, they have become tourist attractions for people from Yemen to go and visit. I think they're making a horrible mistake. I think they need to stop this now immediately. Otherwise, what is likely to happen is that those who basically want to go after the Houthis because they are friendly to Iran, and there are very powerful countries that basically want to go after Iran, and any country friendly to Iran. Dr. Abad knows that very well. I think the Houthis will be well advised to stop this kind of an attack because, frankly, their own people are already suffering and they're going through really a bad time. And if, for example, Sana'a is given the kind of horrible bombing that you're seeing in Gaza, well, it's going to be terrible for the people of Yemen. So as someone who has absolutely no dislike of the Houthis, I would like to say that this needs to stop,
Okay.
and India needs to do whatever is needed to protect its own shipping in whatever way.
Yeah.
And I hope that sense will dawn on the Houthi leadership, and they do not base. Hamas is doing this, encouraging the Houthis, but they want to expand the conflict, or they want to create a situation of ceasefire. They feel the waterway is shut, there'll be a ceasefire. If the war is expanded, then the attention is diverted. The fact is, I know the Israelis. I know the mind of the Jewish people. They have, after what happened on October 7, they are going to go all out until the military wing of Hamas is destroyed. Absolutely all out.
Okay.
Nothing is going to stop.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But keeping the India perspective alive over here, and Patikrit, quickly a response from you as to what should India's next move be, and particularly, is this action by the Houthis indirectly also of an advantage point for the Chinese?
Let's get into the technicalities first, Megha. First of all, most of the time the Houthis have been using the drones which are called Qasef 1, Qasef 2, Samad 2 and Samad 3. Most of them have signatures which are very similar to the kind of drones and loitering munitions which are used by Iran of the Ababil range of drones. So it is very, very unlikely that the Houthis have their own wherewithal to make drones and loitering munitions and do all these things without the support of somebody. And that somebody who has been supporting whether the Houthis or the Hamas or the Hezbollah, we all know which that country is. So merely they're giving a visa-free entry doesn't mean that they are all nice towards everybody. Number two is very simple. I think these are indications, signals being sent out by Iran that if they are kept out of India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, and remember, just after that thing was announced, the attack in the October month happened in Israel. So I think these are indications they are sending that if you keep us away, if sanctions are going to continue on Iran, while Saudis join hands with the Israelis to have this economic corridor starting from India and going to Europe, then I think this is what they are sending to their proxies that they will do. Now, coming to the India perspective, for a long period of time, India faced a lot of challenges from Pakistan. We have challenges from China. We did not go and blockade any maritime route. We did not go and use proxy to attack somebody's ships. And that is being done on Indian ships. And it is not it's not necessary that it has to be an Indian flag bearing ship. It is all about any ship which is coming to India or going from India with merchandise or fuel. And those are deliberately being targeted. There was another ship which was India bound, having some kind of a link to Israel, which was hijacked by the Houthis. Now, if the Houthis think, I don't think the Houthis, first of all, can do everything on their own without somebody over them, their parents, dictating the terms to them. Now, if they think they can do all these things and there will be no reciprocation, I think they're absolutely wrong. So far as the India stand is concerned, I think India does not need any lecture. India has made it very clear from the day one that it believes in a two-state policy. But when it comes to terrorism, when it comes to an organization like Hamas, India will not say, let's go for a ceasefire. That's clear. And I think on many occasions, India did vote against Israel when it was on a humanitarian aspect.
No,
but
fair
Hamas
enough.
cannot be
Fair enough.
compromised.
Yes. But at this point of time, when forces align themselves, whether it is the Houthis or the Hezbollahs, or we talk about Hamas, and they are causing this massive destruction that is not just limited to Israel. This is now at this point of time escalated and attacked the sea trade routes, and it is impacting Europe, it is impacting America, and it is also impacting India. And it is but natural for the Indian Navy, for the Indian Armed Forces to protect their goods, protect their territories, protect their maritime areas, and protect their ships. So, a natural resistance deterrence policy has been initiated. A measure to deploy those 3 warships has been initiated. But should we be playing on the front foot, or should we at this point of time sustain our deterrence policies, sustain our defensive policy that we have utilized, and then let the heavy lifting be done by the American warships and submarines that are deployed on the Red Sea?
Should we presume that somebody else will do our work? Our exclusive economic zone ends only at 200 nautical miles. If an India-bound ship is attacked somewhere deep inside Arabian Sea, is that also not our responsibility? So I think, the international maritime laws are very clear. If anybody is not following it, I think India does have the wherewithal to go and do the needful. But I think India will make it very clear that our objective is only to keep the maritime routes open. India will not get involved. And of course, you are right. Some elements are deliberately trying to provoke India so that it directly gets involved in the Middle Eastern conflict, which India will not, because many other countries have not joined conflicts which we have been facing. It's none of our business if something is happening elsewhere. There are many issues happening in our neighborhood where nobody, blinks the eye. So the reality is very clear. I think the decision eventually will have to be taken by the government of India. But for the sake of protecting your maritime routes, if you have to play on the front foot, it does not mean that you are getting involved in the war. So I think
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. These are developments that are taking place at a fast-paced way. There are obviously international ramifications, and particularly ramifications on the commercial activities that are going to take place if this unabated attacks by the Houthis is not countered.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.